Hey everybody, welcome to TIW Podcast. I'm Eric, and today I watched WWE NXT episode 546 and NXT UK episode 78, which were both broadcast on January 29th, 2020. So before I get into these episodes, I forgot to mention in the last episode that I finished watching The Circle Season 1 on Netflix. It is awesome. Go watch it. It's 12 episodes, so it's a lot fewer episodes than a lot of the other shows, a lot of other similar shows that I've watched. But it's just as great, maybe even more great than those other shows, particularly Love Island. And I highly recommend Love Island. It's amazing. But the one downside of Love Island is that there's about 40 episodes just in the first season of the United States version. If you go and watch the original UK version, it's about 1 billion episodes per season. There's more episodes than could possibly have been filmed in the amount of time that those episodes took place. It's basically an episode for every single day for 3 months. It's a crazy number of maybe not that long. Maybe it's only like 50 or 60 episodes per season. But anyway, The Circle has a lot of similarities to Love Island, except that the point isn't having couples and all that kind of stuff. But it's similar in the way that more people like come into the game as people are eliminated, and I really like that aspect of it. But other than that, the big twist of The Circle is that everybody is in their own apartment and they're being filmed, but the other contestants don't see each other. Like, they're completely isolated from each other except for what they post and text chat on the Circle app. And it's all voice activated, which means that they have to like dictate all of their texts and stuff, and they're like gesturing at the screen. Even though the gesturing doesn't, but they all have like their own form of like gestures to send, and then they like I'm doing the same gestures as I'm saying this, but yeah, it's really interesting. So because of that, they don't actually see each other. There are some contestants who are not being themselves in the game. They're using like pictures of somebody that they know or whatever, and they're pretending to be a completely different person, or maybe just a slightly different person or whatever. And that aspect of the game is really cool. And it adds to most of the excitement of the 12 episodes. And I think because of that, I think if it was any longer than 12 episodes, it would not be like that. They kind of hit the perfect length for the show. Because I think dragging it on even more than that would start to feel like it was dragging on, but it was like right in that sweet spot of like all the twists of the people coming in, all of that. Really, really well done. I recommend it. The Circle. It's on Netflix. The Circle. It's on Netflix. That's the commercial for it. Yeah, that's all. That's really all. I started talking about I started watching because I decided I'm going to end my Apple TV subscription when it expires like next week. But I wanted to try some other shows because I had only watched the morning show so far. I was like, I've been subscribing for like 3-4 months. And basically that's the only show that I've watched. I should get a little bit more out of it before this month ends. But I can't even remember the name of the show now. It's the one with Octavia Spencer and Aaron Paul and Truth Be Told. And I mean, it's all right. I actually haven't been watching. I've mostly been listening to it. So like well into like the second episode, I was like the first time I looked at the screen when a particular character was on there, and I was like, oh cool, she's in this. And this character, I've been hearing her talk for like, okay, so this is not like a good recommendation for this could be an awesome show that you definitely should watch. I don't know, because I've mostly only been listening to it. But the couple of times that I've like looked up at the screen or whatever has been pretty interesting. What's her name? Lizzie Kaplan. She's great. Octavia and Aaron Paul, they're also great. And it's very high quality. But I'm not really into shows that are about like shows that are about podcasting that are like I don't know, just in general. It's that aspect of it. I don't know. It is interesting, but I'd like to see more. What I'm really getting to is this joke. And it is a joke. Like I like to see more of her like figuring out sponsorships and like talking to the MeUndies people and stuff like that, like to get sponsors for her show. Like that's a big aspect of successful podcasts is the sponsorships and stuff. And I guess her show is probably more of like an NPR type of thing. That it relies on like, you know, pledge drives and things like that maybe, but I don't know. They don't address that aspect of the show at all. It's just like, oh, my new series is all about this this murder from. So it's like the behind the scenes kind of. But I mean, you don't see her like sitting down in the studio and recording it, but you do hear her narration from the thing, and they like kind of justifies having that device, which I'm usually not a fan of. And I'm kind of not a fan of it here, of having a narration of like, this is what we're trying to. This is the commentary on this. What's going on? Like I'm not a huge fan of narration in general, but at least it's like justified why it is there. Like Scrubs, that's my least favorite part of Scrubs. Scrubs is amazing, but the narration, I don't like it. I also don't really like the middle is really good, but I don't like the narration on that. Modern Family, the narration is like the talking head things, but it really comes across as narration a lot, especially like at the end of the episodes where like sometimes blah 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 blah, but sometimes blah 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 blah, like that. Especially if they use that structure in their narration or whatever, I don't like it. I don't like that. Sometimes I like it, and sometimes I don't. That would not be that's even worse than it would be. It's usually a lot. It usually isn't that bad, but so yeah. Truth be told, it's all right. It's all right. There's a pretty intense moment I think it was at the end of episode 2 or something. And I stopped like at the beginning of episode 4. There's only 8 episodes. I think it's complete. Yeah, because episode 8 came out on January 9th. So if there's an episode 9, it would have come out already. I don't know. Give it a shot. If you have Apple TV, give it a shot. I think you'll know if you like it in the first episode. I also tried watching See with Jason Momoa, and I did not get very far in the first episode. But I also like that one. You do need to watch like with your eyes, not like this show. Like this show, truth be told, you should probably watch with your eyes also. But it is a very visual show for being about not being able to see. But maybe I'll give that one another shot. And then my sister was saying that another Apple TV show was really, really good. That the M. Night Shyamalan show. I think it's called The Servant or The Servant. Ooh, okay. Okay, this might be this review. I'm not going to play it. But the okay, so the headline is, this is from time.com, and it's written by Judy Berman, December 3rd, 2019. So I think she only watched the first episode then, or maybe the first couple. But true crime drama, Truth Be Told, isn't a disaster, but it's everything that's wrong with Apple TV. Debuting December 6th, the series features the service's most impressive cast since this side of the morning show. Blah, 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 blah. It takes place in the Bay Area. I guess that's kind of an important thing about it. None of this makes Truth Be Told any worse than your standard network detective drama. You can imagine it scraping together passable ratings with an NCIS leading on CBS, but it marks another misstep for Apple TV because it's so bland and forgettable. Historically, the shows that have made their respective platforms' reputations for original programming have been contemporary, revolutionary, and just plain excellent. It takes more than a timely hook like true crime podcasts to launch a subscription service, especially amid the current glut. So, like, the main driving factor of this show is that she feels guilty that her stories that she wrote at the time of Aaron Paul's character being convicted, wrongly convicted potentially, is that she feels guilty that the stories she wrote about the time led to him being tried as an adult. And so he is still in prison like 20 years later, whereas if he had been tried as a child, if he was still convicted, it wouldn't have been as harsh. And he probably is innocent or whatever anyway. So it's playing on all that whole thing from Serial. And it seems like it's mostly inspired by Serial, but yeah, I don't know. Check it out. It's all right. It's not like The Circle. The Circle, I think everybody should check that show out. Like, give it a try for sure. Go watch a trailer for this one if it looks and I think you might like. It's well made, but it's not like mind blowing or anything like that. So again, credit to this article I quoted. I think she's seen at this point as many episodes as I have. Having written this on December 3rd. Oh wait, no. She posted this before. She might have seen the whole series. If she was able to watch it early. Huh, I don't know. She doesn't mention if she's seen the whole thing. Maybe she does. Oh, Sarah Koenig is a consultant on the show. I don't know. Okay, I don't like that pop-up. Get the hell out of there. Okay, now that I'm also this episode I'm also kind of trying to use because there's only I'm right at the end of the month and I still have like 80 megabytes to use for episodes. So I thought I'd make this one a little bit longer. And right after this, I'm going to, or like tomorrow morning after I've read some comics, I'm going to do a little bit longer of a comic book episode. So stay tuned for all of that after we talk about, all right, NXT and NXT UK. I'm just going to go through most of the matches. I didn't take, I just wrote down who was in it and who lost. Okay, for a while here, I've been using this graph paper notebook, which is awesome. And like my first like week of using it, I was like writing really neatly. It was helping a lot, even more so than writing in a regular notebook with like a regular ruled notebook. And the last like week has devolved that I mean, I am still writing straight along the grid, which is a good thing. It's an improvement. Like I kind of like ended up kind of like slanted maybe, or not really have good spacing or stuff. But the actual legibility isn't very good. But anyway, I need to try harder on that because I don't know, even though I end up throwing away the pages eventually, like these first few weeks of it, like writing really nicely on there. And it's good to have good handwriting when you try. Anyway, we open up with Finn Balor versus Trent Seven because Trent Seven was having an interview after Worlds Collide last weekend, and Finn attacked him in the parking lot. So that led to this match here. Finn Balor won via the 1916, and it was pretty great. Then we had Shotzi Blackheart entering the arena in a tank, which is great. I know I've seen like clips of that before when she's used the tank in the past, but seeing it now in NXT, it's fantastic. I love it. Shotzi, like my affinity for Shotzi increases every single time she makes an appearance on NXT, and I love it. It was great. So she came out in the tank and fought Deonna Purrazzo, and Shotzi won via her signature senton. And yeah, that was great. It was great. Then we had Keith Lee come out celebrating his the new reign as North American champion. And two people want a piece of Keith Lee, and they want that championship. Damian Priest and Dominik Dijakovic. And Keith is like, oh, well, I'm going to get out of here. You guys can settle this yourselves. So we get Dijakovic versus Priest. Dijakovic wins. And so I assume that this will be Keith Lee's challenger at TakeOver Portland. I'm not sure if they made it official, officially official or not. But I think that's the big implication there. Let's see. We go backstage, and we see that Undisputed Era have all been murdered by Ciampa. He was just interviewed moments before, saying that he's going to make sure that he is the challenger for the championship. He sets up a table in the ring and spray paints a big yellow X on it, and has some words for Adam Cole. He challenges him to come out. And Adam Cole does come out. He comes out with William Regal, and they're like, calm down. I already signed the contract. Or William Regal says, he already signed the contract. We were going to be here and be like civil about it, offer you this match and everything. You didn't have to do all of this. And Adam Cole is pissed. He's like, give me that. And he storms up to the ring, and then he ends up getting put through the table. Ciampa, something happened that his head started bleeding, but he signs the contract because it's already signed by Adam Cole, and then the blood on his face, he wipes some of it off and then wipes it all over the contract. This was so much cooler than the Fiend doing similar last Friday. This is so much cooler, but not that it's not really a competition. This was like felt like. Also, I didn't know it was going to happen. Last week, I had heard that it had happened, so it was kind of underwhelming when I actually watched it. But anyway, that was pretty awesome. Then we had Tegan Nox versus Dakota Kai. So to be fair, Dakota did try to use that knee brace as a weapon earlier in the match, but the supposed good guys, Candice LeRae comes out to help Tegan Nox. There's that's cheating in the first place, because it's not like somebody is helping Dakota Kai cheat. I mean, she stops Dakota from using the leg brace to attack Tegan, so I guess it was kind of helping in a good way, but Candice LeRae was distracting the referee when Tegan Nox used that very same leg brace to hit Dakota Kai. That is cheating. They're the bad guys. I've been saying they're the bad guys since they passed on Dakota. They felt nothing bad about not picking Dakota Kai to be on their team at all. In fact, they seemed quite happy about it. This entire time, it's Dakota Kai has done nothing wrong. She was wronged in the first place, and she continues to be wronged with cheating by supposed good guys. It's a damn shame. So Tegan won that. Tegan Nox won that match, and then we had Chelsea Green versus Kaden Carter. Chelsea Green, of course, appearing with Robert Stone, but Kaden Carter gets the win, and Chelsea is very upset. And I'm also kind of this is a cool thing with Robert Stone and Chelsea Green. Maybe the point is that they're not. I don't know what the point. If she's not going to win, then I don't understand. I don't understand, but maybe it'll all make sense. Maybe it will all make sense, and Chelsea Green will turn on Robert Stone and become her own thing or something. I don't know. We'll see. Then we had the finale, the final match of the Dusty Classic, Broserweights versus Grizzled Young Veterans. Oh, this match is awesome. Just awesome. Go watch this. If you're not familiar with Grizzled Young Veterans, you'll be familiar with them now. But go watch this match. It's okay. So Broserweights, Pete Dunne and Matt Riddle win the match, and they have earned. Well, they win the trophy, and also the interviews before, all this stuff with Pete and Matt is just so funny. But in addition to winning the trophy, they also will face Undisputed Era at TakeOver Portland, and I am super excited for that. That's going to be fantastic. So yeah, I'm really pleased with this episode. There were rumors that somebody was going to show up this week, but I kind of feel like that doesn't really make sense to do until after TakeOver Portland, when the current challengers are done or are the new champions. So I think we should probably be keeping an eye out for that to happen the week after TakeOver Portland. Because what I'm talking about, Charlotte Flair. There's rumors that she was going to challenge Rhea Ripley, but it would be the same sort of situation as with Bianca Belair earning a championship opportunity before the already accepted match between Rhea and Toni Storm. And that itself and that challenge also took place before Toni Storm challenged the triple threats to Kaylee Ray and Piper Niven and Toni Storm. All of that happened before these two championship matches, and it kind of felt like, that kind of is. It could work if she becomes champion or Rhea loses the championship, whatever. But it was kind of a spoiler that it wouldn't. That Toni wouldn't win. But at the very least, that Rhea would what am I saying? That Rhea would win with Bianca going to challenge. That Rhea would win. They did counteract that a little bit with having them all involved with each other the week before last week on Worlds Collide, or before Worlds Collide. But I still felt like, because they're building up to all three shows at the same time, that it kind of having stuff pretty much set for the last of the three shows meant that certain things were bound to happen, or very likely to happen at the first two shows. But so with Charlotte, if Charlotte came and challenged Rhea Ripley already before TakeOver Portland, they'd be like, okay, well, Rhea's going to win. But now it seems more likely if she comes and challenges, if if she comes after whoever wins the match, which I'm pretty sure will be Rhea, but it could be Bianca, then it's more impactful because okay, it's almost certain that there's no championship match set between now and then. This is the championship match. But then again, same sort of thinking, like any match that happens on the weekly show, any championship match that happens on the weekly show is kind of spoiled by that. If you're like, okay, it's going to be Charlotte versus Rhea at WrestleMania. Like, so anytime that Rhea gets challenged before then, it's pretty much assumed that she's going to win. But I think it's pretty much just if she had a challenge or not, I think it's pretty much assumed that Rhea's going to keep on winning until TakeOver Tampa. I think having her win it on the weekly show was a shock, unexpected because of that. I don't think they would also have the next championship change happen on the weekly show. Then again, they did that with the North American Championship. It's the last two times it's changed hands, it's been on TV. But also, Worlds Collide didn't have the championships on the line, like any of the men's championships on the line, and then Survivor Series didn't have any championships at all on the line except for the Cruiserweight Championship. Okay, so let's talk now about NXT UK. Episode 78. This is on January 30th, the next day. So this episode and the next few episodes were all filmed before Worlds Collide, but they so that's kind of interesting knowing that, watching it. Nobody who was on Worlds Collide also had no, that's not true. Imperium, they're the only people that had matches on this episode who also had a match on Worlds Collide, so that was kind of interesting. But anyway, we opened up with the return of Oney Lorcan. Oney and Danny faced off against The Hunt, Primate, and Wild Boar, and Danny Burch got the win. And in an interview a little bit later on, he basically said, "We're coming after the tag team champions, and we're gonna get them. We're gonna get them." He didn't use those words, but that was the general gist I got from that. We had Eddie Dennis come out, cut a promo, and Trent Seven comes out and also cuts a promo on him. That was pretty interesting. That to see this feud continuing, but they had a replay. I forgot how brutal this moment was. They had like the Razor's Edge or the Crucifix Power, but whatever you call that move. He had Trent Seven up in it, and then he decided, instead of just doing it in the ring, this was at TakeOver Blackpool too. He did to outside of the ring. It threw him into a guy that was just standing out there. So brutal, so crazy. That I don't know why that didn't stick in my memory from actually watching Blackpool. I think we were playing some games and stuff, so I think we might have missed that moment when it happened. Because I'm certain if I was paying attention, that I would have just gotten nuts. But anyway, we had a video package of I forget how to pronounce her name. I think it's Aoife Valkyrie. It was a pretty cool video package, and then I was like looking her up because I was not familiar with her at all, or maybe I was, and with the new name, I had no idea who I didn't know. Anyway, I'm not familiar with her. And then one of the first results when I searched was talking about how they had to refilm her debut match for this. So we'll see how that turns out. But from the video package, she seems pretty cool. So hopefully that's not a big obstacle going forward. That it's just like, just one of those things that happens with a taped show or whatnot. But we'll see. It looked like she'll either be next week or the week after is when she'll be on there. Also next week we'll have Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair going back to regular NXT. they'll be face to face in the ring, leading up to their match in Portland. Okay, then we had Tyson T-Bone versus Ridge Holland. I have not seen Ridge Holland before. Apparently he's been on a winning streak, and that winning streak continued with this match. I don't remember anything in particular from this episode. I forget what I was doing. I was doing something. I was like working on something. I don't know. But hey, it's not a very long match, so you may as well watch it. On the way to a fantastic main event. Flash Morgan Webster and Mark Andrews are so great. And then you add Dave Mastiff in there. This crazy trio. They go up against Imperium, sans Walter, but he does come out at one point and is a bit of a distraction, and it's because of that I think it was Mark Andrews who is up on the turnbuckle, or he was up on the ropes about to do something jumping off of the top rope when Fabian and Marcel got the upper hand. Marcel throws Mark Andrews over to Fabian, who, like, oh my God, like the strength of both of these guys, of Mark Andrews and Fabian, for him to catch him like he did, and then like it was straight, like that's straight up acrobatic strength. That's Cirque du Soleil acrobatic, like lifting, throwing other people, like that type of strength. So awesome. And I'm still not sure if this move has a name. I didn't notice if they called it anything in particular. So I don't know if it has a name, but it's my favorite tag team move. That, because they also have the European bomb, which is the European uppercut into the power bomb thing that has that name. I still don't know what this move's name is. It's so good. It's like it's a spine bust. I think it's a spine buster. Brain buster. I think it's a brain buster. I don't know what it is, but it's so good. It's so good. I love that finisher so much. These guys are great. So Imperium won. Oh, I should have been ready to play. Hold on. Here we go. Oh, I can play it on here. So Imperium won. Close enough. And that's how we end the episode. I'm pretty happy with that. Oh, another note. I totally skipped this. Okay, so NXT for the first time ended at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock or whenever the 2 hours ends in your time zone. It did not have an overrun, and that was because it had the new season of Miz and Mrs. afterwards. It was a full hour of Miz and Mrs. Both great episodes. I really enjoyed it. We had a birthday, Monroe Sky's first birthday, which took place during WrestleMania weekend last year. That was really fun. And then we had The Miz and Dolph Ziggler and The Miz's friend Ryan. They had a big game day. Watching the Cleveland Browns play football. I think that's the team, right? That's their football. Whatever Cleveland team. With the he had a fridge that has the chains that come undone if they win, which is like such a weird thing, but it is a thing. And that's cool for him. They got one of those fridges that there's only so many of those fridges that exist. But anyhow, they have like a hangover the next day, and they have to take Monroe to a lesson, and it turns out it's a music lesson, so there's like pounding drums and all of that. And that was so like as a trade-off so that Maurice could have a girls' day the next day. And so like that whole episode was really fun. And yeah, Miz and Mrs. is such a good show. I haven't watched like most of the second half of season 1. But the first half, like leading up to Monroe getting born, and all, like that's one of the best episodes of reality television I've ever seen. It's like so funny, but also like when it gets to those moments, the emotional stuff, it's like so nice. Also like heartwarming and all that. So check it out, Miz and Mrs. Miz and Mrs. It's great. Okay. Like I said, this episode was mostly meant to take up a lot of storage space, so I'm maximizing this month's hosting fees. But yeah, we're at the end. Stay tuned for my comic book new comics episode for this week. There's a lot of stuff to talk about, and I'll be reading at least a couple of the books to talk about more in depth. But let me know what you thought about NXT, NXT UK, Truth Be Told, The Circle, Miz and Mrs., all of that stuff. Let me know what you thought by tweeting me at TIW Podcast. Go to TIWpodcast.com for more reviews. If you enjoyed this episode or anything else on the site, please share some links with your friends. Subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, wherever you like to listen. Stay safe out there in all of the infinite multiverses. And I'll see you next time here on TIW Podcast. Bye.